I have many friends, juniors, and my own batchmate who committed suicide due to work pressure, personal life conflict, and for various reasons, loss in the business, in the hospital business mainly. And so there are a lot of stress building in doctors, and we advise diazepam to what all newer drugs to our patients. We bring them with less anxiety to our hospitals, to surgeries, and for medical treatment, and we are the most important victims of the same. Young doctors, there's an alarming rise in stress level, and their mental facts are very bad in the sense that they even start practicing unethical medical practice. So that is the level of stress with which we undertake our practice in medicine. And who else can be the best speaker for this topic? Dr. Vijay C Bose, an accomplished surgeon, alumnus of Madras Medical College, and got trained in Liverpool and Birmingham, and is a pioneer in Delta motion in Asia, and he has numerous publications and live surgery demonstration throughout the world, and most important being 1,000 hips without dislocation is the most important paper which he has published. So we have Dr. Bose with us to share how he balances his work-life balance.
Right. Good afternoon. Firstly, thanks to the team. I'd like to congratulate on the 1 year of your Smile meeting. I think it's an absolutely fantastic thing to so relevant. Suresh Babu was saying how he's out of neurosurgery for the last so many years. I'm sorry. Out of it's a good way to start the talk. Out of other things apart from neurosurgery. But the point I was coming to was we have in our orthopedic unit we have 6 units, and we have a Friday 6 o'clock meeting, so that we are in touch with the other aspects in orthopedics only. Otherwise, we tend to lose touch of so many things, sports medicine and all, because we don't attend the conferences and such. So it's we have this meeting so that we are in touch with other facets of orthopedics. So relevant today with all these sub-specializations going on and all that. That's fantastic. So when Surendranath and Patta approached me to do this talk, I sort of, it was a mixed feeling for me, because always great feeling when you're invited to give a talk, great feeling, but you need to have 2 qualities to give this talk. One, you must have gray hair, and 2, you must be bald. So, Patta, you have a long way to go. Look at this color and the density of his hair. You've got quite some time to go before you can give this talk. Okay. So this work-life balance, what is it? So there are various facets to life, it's not just work. So basically you have 5 things: you have work, you have self, you have friends, you have the community, you have family. So the question is, how do we balance all this? So work is not everything, and one must never get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life. That's what usually people say about work-life balance. Now, how can we achieve work-life balance individually? So the simple resources that we have is you can buy some textbooks like this, which will tell you what to do, or you can have some online resource and then see how each of us in our lives as doctors can we have this work-life balance. So the common points too, if you look at all these resources that you have, books, online, etc., there are some very common points, which I'd like to enumerate now. The first thing that all of them say, they must have flexi time. You must be very flexible. Not fixed working hours. You must plan your activities properly, and you must distribute your time very judiciously. You plan your activities at least 1 day earlier and write it down. You must have 45 minutes of meditation in the morning. You must set goals and try to achieve them. You reward yourself for achieving the same. You take at least 2 vacations per year. You leave work at work and take a hobby like painting or photography. Have an hour of electronics and gadgets in the morning, an hour off in the evening. Join a gym and visit it at least 4 times per week. Have regular time for your family. Take good care of your health with regular screening tests. Dress down, example, jeans 1 day of the week. This is what I found in all these books. On Friday, we can all probably come in jeans. Go out with your friends at least once a week. Take a long weekend once in a while, either a Friday or a Monday. Club it with your weekend and ensure 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And go to bed and get up at fixed times every day. and eat well, nutritiously and slowly, and join a social organization like Rotary. So that's my talk. Well, how many of us can really do all this as doctors? Really, anyone here who thinks we can do any of these? So, and also they say, in these books they say that some professions are not compatible with work-life balance. Example, medicine they give, first medicine is. So that's really sad. And so, is our profession not compatible with work-life balance? Are we a cursed lot that we can't have work-life? And all this friends have not said about suicide, etc. Are they really inevitable? There's some sense to it, because work, like all other professions, is a very predominant part of our life. We can't deny that. As professionals, as doctors, it really occupies our time to a large extent, and so there is some truth to it. But my thing is, we are not cursed, and this does not apply to doctors. This for others, it's not apply to doctors at all. So the real point, the crux that I want to say is that it's not about the time allotted to each component that matters, but the attitude that you have towards it and the energy that you bring along that really matters. It's not the time that you give for the 5 components, but really what is your attitude towards it that matters. And I have to say that as a doctor, you can have an excellent work-life balance. And that's the crux of my talk today. So we'll first start with work. This I always tell my juniors. Your work as a doctor must mean something more to you than just a means of making money. Especially the very juniors, If they house surgeons and all, they say why they come to medicine, because they thought it's a good avenue to make money. You're in the wrong field. You're a fool. But why do you want to, spend all your time with sick people? That's if you are making money. There's so many other avenues to make money. So this meaning could be anything. Could be various things. You may be out to invent anything, you may make an impact on people, etc. Everything, but it must mean something more. If it doesn't, you're going to be eternally unhappy, and you're a candidate for all these suicides and things. So fundamentally at medical school, medicine must mean something more to you, not a means of that. No, so many other ways. In that video that we had earlier, we have 500,000 other ways of making money. You're a fool to spend your life with sick people all day in and day out, if that's only it means to you is to make money. And that's a fundamental thing as a doctor. If you don't have that, I think you should go to another profession. Now, we cannot ignore the business side of medicine today. We live in an ultra-competitive world. We have hospitals, corporate hospitals, etc., and competition. So only a fool would say that, that we need to be completely like hermits. Of course, a lot of business things, it does apply to medicine. There's no question about that. It is a business, but it's a business with a difference. What's the difference? We are in the summit of the pyramid of social relevance. Everyone makes money to different fields, etc. But if you look at all the fields that you have, food industry, transport, music, etc., they all, of course, make a living. But we are the summit of social relevance. We're the most socially relevant problem. So that should mean something to us. That is special. And you must recognize that. Otherwise, your life as a doctor is going to be. There are others, of course. I'm not trying to decry them. But cinema, you can sell junk food and make money. You can run a Pizza Hut and make money. I'm not saying it's wrong, but they're certainly at the bottom of the social realm. There's nothing to celebrate in that. But we have something to really celebrate. So where mistakes doctors make commonly, and where does things go wrong? Material wants and dreams. This cinema makes us believe that we must all be like what Kamala Hassan said, that we must charge only 5 rupees. We must not be able to afford good clothes or shoes. And that's completely rubbish, and we must work in slums. That's not what is it. We all have dreams as youngsters. We want to do, material wants we want. But the important thing about it is they must be finite. So suppose if your dream was to own a BMW as a child or as a youngster, you just work towards it. You must own a BMW, of course, but you must be satisfied with that. The next step, you don't want to own a Jaguar. And then once you want a Jaguar, you want a helicopter next. And that is really something. That's a curse. Now imagine that you don't get fulfilled by eating. So you go to one 5-star restaurant after another you go, but you never get fulfilled. Isn't that a curse? Wouldn't we call that a curse? And a lot of people that I find have this, this insatiable need. That is wrong. You want to have a beach house as a youngster, you dreamt of it, you must have a beach house. You must work towards it. No harm in that. But once you get that, you must stop. You must move on. If that is insatiable, you're going to have hell on earth. You're going to have hell. That's a very fundamental mistake I find people making all the time. So infinite material want is a curse. It's not a thing. It's really a curse for you. What's the measure of success? Yes, we must all try to be successful. We can't be lazing around in a hospital. You're not going to be successful. We all want to be this, we want to be this, we want to be pioneer. But it must not be in relation to somebody else. You should not say, I must be the top orthopedic surgeon in Chennai. That's not the goal you should be. You will never be happy. Somebody may be gifted. You want to be better than Roger Federer. Roger Federer is gifted. He may play tennis 24 hours a day. You can't come near him. You just can't. He is gifted. So like that, there are many other circumstances beyond your control. So you must have but it must not be in relation to somebody else. I must not say that, I must be better than Patta. No, I must be good in orthopedics. I must do this, I must do that, I must join it, but not in comparison. That's where you become unhappy. That's where you seriously become unhappy. It's because your goals are wrong. The goals must not be in relation to others. So it must not be related to somebody else. So if your relation to somebody else, you start running a rat race. What's a rat race? You have long hours that you put in the stressful job to make money, to buy things that you do not need, to impress people whom you do not like. That is a rat race. You must not get into a rat race. You must never be. You must have middle wants, you must be successful, but you must not be in a rat race. So then we come to family. So there's a question, what is family? Anybody? Is it, is it a blood relative family? If that is so, then if you adopt a child, is it not family? What do you mean by family? What is the definition of family? Group of all hostelites are family. So what's the definition of family? What do you mean by family?
Parents, siblings, and spouse and children.
Is that's it? Well, have you already heard of saying, somebody else, that person is so close, he's family. So what does that mean?
That's the minimum definition of
No, that is not family. The
person who loves you.
loves you? Well, let's not get into that. So the family is somebody who, you find if somebody is family, their well-being is more important to me than my own well-being. That's family. So if I have children, is given. My children, I care more about my children. But spouse, maybe. Parents, maybe. So that's the family. That's very much. So it's not about having a spouse. Not about that's not what matters. It is whether you care more for them. That's what his family is all about. So it's not about spending time with your wife and bickering for go home early 5 o'clock and bicker till 10 o'clock. That's not what work-life relationship. It's somebody that you spend time with whose well-being is more important than your own well-being, and that is the crux of that. Yeah. Also the quality of the time. So just because you go and watch 5 hours of teleserials with your wife, that is not work-life balance. It's the quality of the time that matters. Some of the days we get very late at work. And so the one way that we could, because we have a very long work schedule, one way is to have common pursuits. So the wife, something will be common, something that you have to do common, or with children, or with family, and that's the common, even simple things here. So what I do, sometimes it's 9:30 by the time I reach home, and that's my dog, Jazz. So my wife and both of us love our dog, really. So every day, no matter which day, even when I reach home at 11 o'clock, we take him for a walk, 10-15 minutes. But that's quality time. That's really quality time. It's not the amount of time you spend 5 hours, but the quality time that matters. Yeah. Now I got to mention Dr. Suri. I known him for 20 years. We worked together. He is family to me. Okay. So we talk about self. So self is a little more complicated. But true self-development is physical, mental, and spiritual. And what is important about this is that in the absence of even one, the other two lose their significance. So there's no development if you ignore one of this and concentrate on one or the other. So you must have all three for having self-development. Yeah. So we look at one. So what is physical health or happiness? Physical health is that makes you secrete endorphins. That's physical health. Okay, that makes it. So different things for different people will make you secrete endorphins. Yeah. So different things are there. So physical activity, whatever it may be, different for different people. Yeah. So Sudhakar, the anesthetist here, for him, rock climbing and trekking, etc. So he practices every weekend. And so I think there's no excuse, even if you have a busy schedule, at least in weekends we can take up things like cycling, but not just take up cycling for the sake of cycling. It must make you produce endorphins. That's the key. If it does that, then you must pursue that activity, at least at weekend, and you find you get an excellent work-life balance. Yeah. So for me, tennis gives me endorphins. This is a photograph after we just won the inter-club tournament. I play for Gardner. I'm the captain of the Gardner club. Tennis, we just won last year. This year we lost. We won, and you can see us all secreting endorphins. Can't you see that? that is work-life balance. Yeah. So we won the inter-club tournament last year. That is secreting endorphins. That's what is very important. Each one of us must. There's activity. There's so many activities these days. Some physical activity. You must choose that and manage your time to make it that. Yeah. Just joining a gym, and if you hate going to a gym, you drag yourself to the gym 4 days a week. Believe me, that's going to, be worse for your health than you are. Dragging yourself to a gym which you don't like is going to make you worse than what you are. Certainly that. Yeah. So what about mental? Mental is your mental challenges that you go that makes you secrete dopamine. Am I right? So that's what makes you secrete dopamine. So we must all, for physical health, we must all look after mental health. Just like we have the various, tennis tournament, etc. Mentally, we must challenge ourselves. If we don't challenge ourselves mentally, then sooner or later, you'll get Alzheimer's for sure. Yeah. So you must challenge that. Yeah. So it's very important for these neurotransmitters, and we must take that. Now, a software engineer, for example, I have nothing against software engineers, but the poor guy, what is he going to do to make him challenge himself? You know what he's going to do? He's going to put crosswords. So anybody who does crosswords or Sudoku is not in a good job, because he's not in a mentally challenging job. He has to look after something else for him to secrete that dopamine. He has to look for something very artificial. Now, what about us? We are fortunate to be in a profession but day in and day out, we can challenge us mentally. We have a problem. The whole pelvis is osteolysis. I still, find way to recreate that pelvis. Fantastic. There's a tumor just near the brainstem, and the neurosurgeons are able to find a way somehow across to do it. There's an ICU patient, sick, moribund. Somehow they find a way. Anesthetist, almost a dead patient, they're able to anesthetize. Every day we get these mental challenges. How? And what blessed, state that you have. You don't have to look at Sudoku to give you that dopamine. You need to do everyday life to give you that. That's something fantastic. What about spiritual then? Spiritual makes it serotonin. So you have to secrete serotonin. So that's important, yeah. So as I told you, one of these is absent, you don't get health and happiness. So spirituality, I can't tell you what spirituality. If I tell you what spirituality, then it's not spirituality. The spirituality cannot be defined, and that's the whole thing. It is a journey to the center of the soul. It's a human activity that expresses profound experiences and inner longings in terms that are meaningful. So I'll tell you what is not spirituality. Going and put something in a hundial is not spirituality. I can't tell you what is spirituality, but I can tell you what is not spirituality. That is not spirituality. Giving away old clothes to destitutes is not spirituality. Trust me on that. It's not spirituality. Okay. Now this is Mrs. Sita Krishnamurthy. She was my English teacher in school. And I always felt that she singled me out I was not good in English, but I always felt she asked me the hardest questions to me. She made me feel very small in class. Gave me a lot of trouble in class. All the hardest questions she always used to point at me and ask. I had great trouble with her. Last year, I replaced her knee. Okay? That was a spiritual experience for me. I was secreting serotonin like no one. That was truly a spiritual experience for me. Absolute spiritual experience. So spirituality is what I can't tell you what is it, but that was spiritual experience for me. Okay? So you got to work out your own spirituality. Okay? So medicine at crossroads, very important point. So jokes apart, this is a recent book that has been published, and there was a NDTV panel discussion on that. And this was edited by none other than Professor Nandi. Professor Nandi was here. Patar invited him for one of the programs. One of the most revered figures, Professor retired. A retired professor of surgical gastroenterology from AIMS. A very revered figure. And he edits a book which is called as Healers or Predators. What a word to use! Isn't this shocking? I can accept a word like profiteer or something like that. Predator, healers. Predator is something like a rapist. That's the word, the implication. And this goes to the public, and they read a book like this. Healers, what an impression. That's because there are some bad elements in our community. There's no question about that. And they have given us this thing. And so it's time for us to look inward and do something about it. So as long as you are searching for your spirituality, not become spiritual, but at least your constant search, that will keep you away from doing non-ethical things that some inner voice will tell you what is right, what is wrong. And that's very important for us to identify ourselves spiritually. It's different for different people, but you must search for the source of everything, the inner path to find one's unique essence, the passageway to the perfection within us and brings us together. So all of us must have this quest for spirit. That will keep us in the right track. So important. So I can't tell you what it is. You must work it for yourself, but you must always have a constant quest for spirituality. What about friends? Having 6,000 Facebook friends is not getting you anywhere. Okay? Having these themed parties, a lot of things not going to get you anywhere. What is important is to have close friends with whom you can let your hair down. So you don't have to put an image. I come to a hospital, I need to dress well, I need to wear a coat, wear a tie. That's an image I'm trying to create. But with your friends, you're not creating an image. You're your bare soul. And that's a true friend. You must cultivate spending time, even little, maybe once in 3 months, maybe once in 4 months. But you spend time with them, that gives you that balance. You must be able to bare your soul or let your hair down. So this is a group of close friends. We try and travel as much as we can. All the others are orthopedic surgeons as well and their spouses. So live, love, laugh, and enjoy the good times with your friends. May not be very frequent a profession, but whenever you get a chance, you must do it. Yeah. And another thing is we travel a lot, unlike other professions, for various conferences. And whenever you conference, you meet old friends. So again, a good opportunity as doctors to live, love, laugh, and enjoy the good times with your friends. What about community? Now, Finland is supposed to have the greatest community, best. And sadly, India is supposed to have one of the worst. Because we are not worried about the next door neighbor at all. It's very commonly you'll find people clean their house and dump it into the neighbor's place. So common. In Birmingham, they used to do it. Indians in Birmingham. I used to feel so ashamed. In the doctor's quarters we used to live. They used to clean their house and dump it into the next house. This was happening in Birmingham. I used to feel ashamed of being an Indian. But as Indians, we must feel sorry for it. Yeah. So what can we do about it? We must do whatever we can. There's no need to join Rotary. There are ample opportunities again with us. This is the beach in front of my house where we are taking an initiative to make it clean. Now after we took initiative, it's really, really clean. It feels so nice. Whenever I go to the beach, it's very clean after the initiative that we took to do all these things. Yeah. So maybe in something in an apartment complex, maybe something in the hospital, something in a neighborhood. Must have a cause that's close to us. You didn't go and spend every Sunday in Rotary. That's not necessary. Something close to yours you must do. And our profession is so blessed that you don't have to go to the community comes to you. So every patient that I see, apart from advising them medically, now I do advise non-medical things. Now if it is somebody from the US, I say take care of your parents. If children, I say study well. And all my secretaries don't like me spending so much time with patients because I keep advising them. But the community comes to you and they can take advice. Suppose I go to a shop to buy something and the guy advises me something about life, for example, I'll slap him. But no patient does that. I advise them on various things in life and they take it with so much of reverence. And in spite of all that people say that doctor-patient relationship has gone, no more there, I disagree completely. They have a great relationship with patients today in 2018. And I advise all my patients various things of life which I think is right. And they take it with so much reverence. So we're truly blessed to be in this profession. So if you look at the determinants of happiness, genetics only 20%, circumstances, which is all this other books talk about, it's only 10%. Money, health is a measly 20%. What's really important is your attitude, your behavior, your morality and spiritual 50%. And our profession gives us ample opportunity for this one. We're truly blessed to be in this profession. So work-life balance is not when you retire. It's not when you made more money than you don't have to work. It's not when kids are finished university. It's not when kids are married and well settled. It is now. And each of us have to make an effort toward direction now, not wait for some milestone. So work and life is not mutually exclusive. That's the final point. One need not be off and the other is on. Both can be on. And that's the fundamental. So success is not the key to happiness, but happiness is the key to success. I thank you for attention.